Jonathan Roumie, thank you so much for chatting with us.
Thank you.
Last time we spoke, I remember you saying when you originally took on the role of Jesus, it was a job. 4 seasons in, what is it to you now?
Fortunately, it still is a job, and I'm able to make a living because of it. It's an increasingly weighty responsibility. I feel like the more people see the show, the more further we get into the show, the more people see the show, the more encounters that I have outside of the show, and the wider reaching it is, and the more impactful it becomes. So it's something that I'm always mindful of as I meet people, and I'm just gracious to be able to. I'm just grateful, rather, to be able to have the opportunity to play such an impactful character.
And one that clearly does impact people on a personal level as well as a character. When you look at Jesus as a character, typically, you see a character go from like not knowing a lot to they grow, they change. But when you're playing someone like Jesus, who's perfect and knows everything and continues to be perfect and knows everything, what does a character arc look like for him?
Well, it's not traditional, that's for sure. For me, I have to find a lot of that on my own, I think, within the confines of what Dallas and Ryan and Tyler have written. And I think it's this gradual coming to the knowledge, the experiential knowledge of the earthly life, of seeing the things that Jesus knows coming to fulfillment, and how that affects him emotionally as he gets closer and closer to the cross.
And when is that coming for him? Where are we up to in season 4?
So the cross happens in season 6. We are now, season 4 leads us into Holy Week, which will be season 5. Yeah, and then season 7 revolves around the resurrection.
Interesting. There's a lot coming ahead. And in this season, as you've mentioned, you're going to be building a deeper connection with fans by virtue of playing Jesus. The responsibility of that, how does that play into the way you live your life behind the scenes?
It makes me more recognizable. So I have more encounters now with people than I ever have. And in places that I didn't quite expect yet. Like I was recently in New York City, and the amount of people that recognized me in New York City was surprising to me. It was unexpected because, like, especially the larger coastal metropolitan towns where there's all different kinds of people, and you're less recognized in those cities. And this recent experience was kind of like, things are shifting. So, which is great on one hand, and on the other hand, it's something that I'm like, okay, I have to be prepared. And, for me, I think I always want to, in every one of my fan encounters, I want people to feel like they got a little bit of what they get from the show. So I always want to make sure that I'm mindful of that. And that just kind of keeps me on my toes as a human.
Yeah. Do you feel like you've got to be a spiritual guide for people personally as much as on screen?
Whether I've designed it that way, it's kind of happened that way. And I get a lot of feedback from people to that effect. And it's really humbling. But at the end of the day, I'm not trying to be anything to anybody other than God. And I'm just trying to go where he's leading me and say the things that he's pushing me to say, or do the things that he's compelling me to do. And that kind of defines my sort of extracurricular activities and appearances where I'll show up and give talks at certain places. And usually it's the Holy Spirit that's just like, yeah, you need to go do this. I'm like, what? I don't want it. Yeah, I know. Just go do it. Fine. And then it ends up being this like transformative, impactful event for my not just the people that are there, but myself. And I'm almost as surprised as they are with some of the things that come out of my mouth. So
yeah, well, you bring a beautiful amount of heart to it. And season 4, really excited to see what does come next. Have there been any highlights for you in making it so far?
We're not in Cana anymore, is what I keep thinking. Like it's hold on for the ride. It's going to be something else. It's exciting, and I think it's going to shake a few people up.
And I know you can't say too much about it, but we got those moments of feeding the 5,000, the walking on the water in season 3. Are there any kind of big moments we can expect in this season?
I think this season focuses more on the intimate relationships that Jesus has with the disciples, and some of the interpersonal events that happen on a micro scale, but equally powerful. Whereas we might not have 5,000 people. I think some of the scenes with just a few of us are equally, if not even more impactful because of what's at stake in the scene.
And there's a certain love and kindness in Jesus I think we saw last season. Are there certain qualities of his that are more present this time around?
Fire and brimstone. I'm
Okay.
kidding. No, I'm kidding. No, I mean, that's always underneath everything. But, we start seeing a little more tension with the Pharisees, within some of the camps of Jesus's inner circle, some of the folks in Jesus's closest circle. Their tensions are rising this season. And we see Jesus doing what he needs to do to try to manage it all.
Hey, it's a very nice way of putting it. Jonathan, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Laura.
I think they must have had a very close relationship. That doesn't go away, you know. Even when you're older, I know I count with my mom for everything.
They say the struggle is real. I say the struggle reveals how you deal with the monster that's inside you. I don't buy into the luck. I put my faith and my trust in my team.